You know, there was a slogan that came out in World War II that said, "Loose lips will sink ships," and there was a reason, you know, for protecting our military or whatever. But, you know, in everyday life, our mouth can get us in trouble, and it can destroy relationships, you know, and it can destroy people around us. And a few weeks ago, I shared on here about what is in your heart and the abundance of your heart and what is coming out. And so today, you know, for the last 3 days, we've been talking about the mouth. And I was thankful that this didn't fall under my day to share, because I tell you, these meddle a lot of times. When I get up there. It's usually meddling with what I have to think or say. But today, Eddie was sharing, and he shared out of today's devotional, and he said, when you hear something negative about someone else, you know, you need to ask, is it true? The problem is, usually when we hear something negative about someone else, we want to run and go tell someone else, or we want to sit there and go, ooh, I want to hear more gossip, you know, I want to hear more. And then the next person comes along and you say, oh my goodness, did you hear? And you haven't even figured out if it's true or not. You know, you just want to share. And what is happening in that is that you are destroying someone. Even if it is true, you don't need to necessarily be sharing it. You need to keep your mouth shut. And oh my goodness, that's easier said than done. I was reading out of James, out of the New Living Translation, and chapter 1, verse 19 says, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters, you must all be quick to listen and slow to speak. And how many of us actually live that? And then it says, and slow to get angry, but to me, it is quick to listen and slow to speak. Usually my mouth is in gear before my brain has totally caught up, and then I'm going, oh my goodness, I can't catch up with what I just shared, you know, or what I just said. I know you're smiling. Looking at me. Don't be nodding your head, Tom. And then out of that same, you know, James really gets us on the tongue. Verse 26 says, if you claim to be religious, oh Lord, but don't control your tongue, you are fooling yourself, and your religion is worthless. You know, if you say, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christ follower, and yet your tongue is, you know, your mouth is going, you're being critical, you're talking about other people, you're gossiping, I don't know what else you could say. Maybe stuff is coming out that's not edifying. People are going to look at you and say, is that really what a Christian should be? And so anyway, yeah, the last 3 days, and of course I'm going to read this one because this is out of James, we all know it, and this is out of chapter 3. It says, we can make a large horse go wherever we want by means of a small bit in its mouth, and a small rudder makes a huge ship turn wherever the pilot chooses to go, even though the winds are strong. In the same way, the tongue is a small thing that make grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire, and the tongue is a flame of fire. And just imagine what your tongue can do and the damage it can do if we don't learn to control it. So anyway, yeah, this is out of our devotional. You can tell I said it's meddling.
Well, you know, this is, I try to, when I'm thinking about some of the things, I'm trying to say this right, you know, when your mouth goes and it shouldn't, like what you're talking about, because that sometimes happens to me. But I think, you know, some of the things that you hear about other people, and let's be honest, sometimes you're glad, you know, not having the love of Jesus in your heart about certain people.
Yeah, you're right.
But if you think about it, and I'm trying to train myself, of course, with the help of God, is I know I've made lots and lots of mistakes and things I don't want anybody else to know about. You know, and I'm embarrassed or humiliated, and it would be worse. Do I really want every stupid thing I've done exposed to everyone and for them to be talking about and thinking about it? No. And it's like, you know what, if you have something that isn't embarrassing, please call me and tell me, because I want to know how you're living your life. That you've made every right decision. And there's a, you know, you look at somebody's whole life, and it's a process of getting better. And you know, you think we've learned so much just in the last, what, 5-10 years? Oh, let's think how smart we're going to be in, you know, 20 or 30 from now. And so cut some people some slack.
Right. Yeah. Treat them with the same respect that you want to be treated.
Exactly.
You know?
Treat them like you want to be treated.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a good devotional, but I'm working on it, so.
Oh, we all are.
Well,
somebody changes something.
you know, we've, you know, you said something a minute ago, Julie, that is so true, that how often when we hear someone that has made a mistake, that flesh side of us is a little bit happy.
Oh, yeah.
Because it makes us just look a little better.
We think.
Well, I'm not as bad as they are.
Yeah.
You know, they're.
I wouldn't have done that. But, you know, if you stop and think, you probably don't have to go very far back in your past, maybe a day, maybe a week, to find out where, ooh, you know what? I messed up. So, you know, nobody's perfect. You know, my wife told me years ago, only 2 people ever walked on water, and you're not one of them. and that was a pretty clear picture of, son, you're not perfect. So don't ever think that you are.
Well, like I said, I would have never done that. How many times we say, well, but you know what? How do you know if you walked in their shoes? How do you know they're not handling it better than you ever would? You would have done way worse than they're doing. You don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and I've thought that before. And you know what? Every time I've been judgmental, I tell you, not almost every time, not every time, but I'm just saying, do you know how many times I thought I would never do something, and then I had to walk through the shoes of the person that I was so judgmental about, and I found out it wasn't. I was worse, but they were. It's always I don't know. Yeah.
I think God kind of does that to teach us a lesson sometimes. You know, a lot of the times the things that we're most critical of, or the people we're most critical of, we end up having those same problems come back in our lives. So,
Right.
you know, that's just another reason, you know, watch what you say, like this devotion was talking about, but, you know, watch what you think, watch, you know, just how you treat people, because, you know, a lot of times, like I said, the things that you're the harshest against are going to end up being the problems that you have in your life.
That's good. I think, too, there's things in the media about Christian leaders, and there have been for how many years, and, you know, these people are doing the best they can, and, yeah. Doesn't mean they love God any less, I'll tell you. But.
Right. That's right.
Anyway, Shane?
What's going on around the network? What's happening at the stations? We've got, you know, we talk about things here, but we forget we've got 10 stations out there operating.
Yeah.
People all over the network doing things. We've got productions going on at all the locations.
Yeah.
Many of those productions you see right here on your network, because, you know, we don't shoot every show that you see on this network. We don't shoot it here. You know, a lot of these come from a lot of the other stations. They're doing a lot of work out there, getting these programs done and getting them to us.
That's right.
So, and you know, I know that people look and watch us and think, you know, hey, they get on TV every day for 30 minutes and an hour, and that's all they do. Well, you know what? There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
There is.
There's work done here 24/7. Our engineers are just in the middle of a project now where, through no fault of anybody's, and we've got to reposition a satellite. Our main uplink has to be repositioned and ready to kick over, because there's a stray satellite going to fly in its path, and it's going to knock it out and knock us out of our main satellite uplink, and we've got to reposition it and get to another bird. So they say, they call them birds. They're actually satellites. They're not real birds flying around. But I'm sure everybody out there in the audience knew that. You know, I'm technically naive when it comes to that.
He's an accountant.
It's good, because what if you're just half listening and something they're talking about birds flying? What kind of bird is in the way of your satellite signal?
It's a pretty big bird.
Yeah. Is it like a bird strike on a plane, or what?
You know, that stray satellite, and those are the things that people, you know, a lot of people don't understand, and you know, unless you're living it and in it, you don't understand that little thing of that stray satellite that's just going to be going by has created an issue with us. You know, in order for us to keep this signal going to your homes 24/7, our engineers had to get out and do a lot of work in some cold weather and get it going. So, you know, those are the kind of things that people need to know about, and what we're doing here at TCT to bring this signal to them every day.
That's right. You know, Shane, this is getting towards the end of the year, and we are partner supported.